Good evening, everyone. There are some strange things surrounding more flooding, not just in New York City or New Jersey, but in multiple places around the world. So let's take a look at some of what is going on here and just get into it, as well as some other information in regards to all this that has come out recently. Some connection to now we're hearing the Trump administration saying that they're going to release information on weather modification, chemtrails, all that stuff. Yeah, we'll get into that because we'll see exactly what they said. It's everything that we were hearing in relation to the Epstein stuff is now coming in regards to the weather modification stuff. So we will look at that. What's up, Jose? God bless, guys. Just making sure everything is up and running here well, and we will get into it. So I'll let this video play showing that obviously weather modification, for years they were saying it doesn't exist, it wasn't real. Now we know for sure it does exist. There's public companies. One of the ones doing the testing prior in Texas was Rainmaker. There was another one in Texas that we'll look at, SOAR. They're messing with the weather. Now, I don't know if that's exactly really what is causing these floods or not, but to say that that maybe isn't having some massive impact on the fact that we're seeing worldwide floods, like historic floods all the time now, to question that is like we for sure should be questioning what's going on with all that. So yeah, just like Piece of My Heart, Homestead saying there is climate change, but it's man-made, manipulated by a handful of powerful people. And again, they were saying this stuff didn't exist for years. This was a conspiracy, just like everything else, just like all the Epstein stuff, all the pizza stuff that was supposedly a conspiracy. Then Epstein came out and it became true. And then we're hearing we're gonna get the information on Epstein. And then what happened? Well, of course we didn't. Now we're hearing it was actually a lie made up by the Democrats to make Trump look bad or something. I mean, it's really disheartening to see that it's turned from that. And you know, I still have hope that there are some people within our government who want the truth to come out, and maybe we'll see it, but it's definitely disheartening to see the change. So I just wanted to show this. Here we can see this is in Texas before, a couple days before the massive flooding that they saw there. It says, these are the flight traces for West Texas Weather Modification LLC, a sub of Weather Modification LLC and SOAR seeding operations and atmospheric research over the last 30 days. The ground was likely saturated due to the hundreds of flights, so when the rains started, it immediately flooded. Anyone downriver on a dry riverbank never saw it coming in time to react. These companies should be shut down, and they should be part of the ongoing investigation, and I'm sure that Paxton will start. They've been doing weather modification in these areas. Now, again, to be 100% honest, I don't know if the little bit of precipitation that these companies are creating is really creating these massive floods, but to say that it should not be looked into is obviously ridiculous. For sure it should be, because even if it doesn't cause the flood right then, even if they weather mod a couple days before it happens, just that could still cause something to happen days later. And for sure, again, it should be questioned, it should be looked into. So here's a little bit of the historic flooding that we are seeing in New York City and in New Jersey. This video here was pretty wild.
Attention passengers, I'm going to call this one in. I can't open the doors, it's not safe.
Yesterday, passengers found themselves trapped inside a New York City subway carriage as water poured onto the platform and began seeping into the train. With the doors locked and nowhere to go, commuters could only huddle by the windows, watching the surreal scene unfold as they waited for help. As powerful storms sweep through the city, officials have urged New Yorkers to take extra precautions amid the extreme weather conditions.
So pretty crazy. I mean, that's some serious flooding. It was going under the tracks there. Luckily, it wasn't filling the subway with all that much water, but that's pretty gnarly to see. Here, we'll watch one more video on some of the New York City flooding, and then I want to read something else that could be in relation to some of the strange weather stuff that we're seeing. So some serious, massive flooding again, after we were just seeing historic flooding in Texas, historic flooding in New Mexico. And as we'll see, it's also happening around the world as well. So what exactly is going on? This may be in relation to some of this stuff. Just want to say what's up, Paul, Dennis, and Rim Reaper and Death Bloom. God bless you guys, and Jerome. Yeah. I mean, this is some strange stuff we're seeing. So maybe this is in relation to it. Saw this on Instagram. The Defense Department has stopped providing satellite weather data, ending public access to key hurricane tracking tools. The Department of Defense has operated satellites that collect atmospheric and ocean data for over 40 years. That information was processed by the Navy's Fleet Numerical Meteorology and Oceanography Center and shared with scientists and forecasters for hurricane tracking and other critical uses. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, it will permanently stop importing, processing, and distributing data from the Special Sensor Microwave Imager Sounder, or SSMIS. This decision ends public access to key hurricane tracking tools. So why exactly are they stopping this hurricane sharing this vital information that a lot of people use? There's a lot of private people now that even cover these storms and let them know to the public different storms that are coming in different regions. And I'm sure this plays a part in it. And now they're just going to stop doing that. Is it because they have a way to manipulate the weather now that can be more easily seen on some of these data charts and they don't want the public to see? That could be something to keep in mind. SSMIS on board military satellites helps forecasters examine activity or active tropical systems and pinpoint their centers. This data is crucial for accurate hurricane prediction models, especially when storms intensify overnight. Forecast models are highly sensitive to changes in data input. Scientists warn that gaps in satellite data or a reduction in quality could significantly weaken forecast accuracy during hurricane season, which is what a lot of people were complaining about during the last Texas thing, saying that some of the cuts that Trump made were why people weren't alerted to what was going on. But then I did see people, meteorologists in Texas, saying that warnings were given out just like they normally are, but that was just a unusual storm. And now, why was it unusual, and why are we seeing these now consistently? So a couple more here. Although SSMIS is one of several microwave tools used in forecasting, it provides nearly half of all microwave observations. Without it, forecasters may miss fast-developing storms over oceans, especially at night. The U.S. Space Force said it will continue to receive and operationally use DMSP data sent to weather satellite direct readout terminals across the Department of Defense. A spokesperson for the Space Force said that instruments are still functional and that the Defense Department will continue to use them despite ending public access for scientists. A little strange why they would cut out public access to something like watching what's going on with the weather, especially at the same exact time that we're seeing such odd weather around the world. This video here from New Jersey, 4 hours ago in North Plainfield, New Jersey, massive flooding going on. You know, pray for these people for sure. All these people need prayers. The people in North Carolina from the big floods that happened, months and months ago, they still need prayers. I had a commenter on one of my last videos. I mentioned it, saying they're still struggling. They're in that region. They feel left out now that, these other storms are happening, and they felt left out in the first place when the Biden administration really didn't offer very much help at all to them. I mean, I saw something the other day or today that we paid I think it was one state paid over $79.2 million to migrants, illegal immigrants. One of the numbers was like over 2 billion. And then Chicago wouldn't even answer how much money, millions and millions, billions of dollars are giving to illegal immigrants. And then people who are tax-paying Americans born in America are not getting the help that they need. That's really sad to see. So for sure, pray for these people and help when you can, because they definitely need it. I found this very interesting in relation to all this. So this is Trump's EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin announces the EPA will now compile and release everything they know about geoengineering and contrails. So that's a lot of what we're hearing lately. They're going to compile everything they know and they're going to release it all, just like what, with the MLK files, with the JFK files, nothing new in any of those that were released, or the Epstein files as the main one. Even again, those conservative influencers standing outside of the White House with their little binders, Epstein files phase 1. Now Trump's coming out and saying the Democrats created the Epstein list to make him and Republicans look bad. So are we really going to get what's going on with the weather modification? I don't know. It sounds pretty more like promises made, promises broke to me, but we'll see. So this is interesting. Let's listen.
Result, I tasked my team at EPA to compile a list of everything we know about contrails and geoengineering for the purpose of releasing it to you now publicly. In other words, I want you to know everything I know about these topics, and without any exception. Instead of simply dismissing these questions and concerns as baseless conspiracies, we're meeting them head on. We did the legwork, looked at the science, consulted agency experts, and pulled in relevant outside information to put these online resources together. Everything we know about contrails to solar geoengineering will be in there. That means anyone who reads through this information will know as much about these topics as I do as EPA Administrator. To anyone who's ever looked up to the streaks in the sky and asked, what the heck is going on? Or seen headlines about private actors and even governments looking to blot out the sun in the name of stopping global warming? We've endeavored to answer all of your questions at the links on your screen. In fact, EPA shares many of the same concerns when it comes to potential threats to human health and the environment, especially from solar geoengineering activities. The enthusiasm for experiments that would pump pollutants into the high atmosphere has set off alarm bells here at the Trump EPA.
They've already been doing similar things for years. Obviously, the chemtrail thing has been going on for quite a long while, and it doesn't sound like they're going to mention HAARP or the different ionospheric heaters that are around the world that have the same capability to manipulate things in the atmosphere, manipulate clouds, weather, things like this. Just sounds like they're going to talk about the contrails, and we'll actually see if anything comes from this, or if in, the next coming months, I have the contrails thing on my desk. Yep, there's a whole file on chemtrails and how it's manipulating the weather, and then one day we'll just find out, no, it's not, because the same people involved on the Epstein list are the same people who are putting chemicals in the air and all these other different things that they don't want released to the public. So will we really hear the truth here? Hard to think we will now. Let's finish this off.
And now, EPA has never been this proactive to raise awareness about concerns with geoengineering and to stop this activity from being scaled up. This is what it looks like when government actually listens to the will of the people and doesn't try to squash it. You can always trust this administration and this EPA to take your concerns seriously, answer your questions honestly, and carry out the will of voters with integrity.
Well, we'll see about that, because they definitely didn't on the Epstein thing. And yeah, they need to be held accountable for that. To just like harp on the Epstein thing, it needs to be harped upon. And when they do good things, you can't deny that Trump's administration has done a lot more for defending at least the border and illegal immigration in America, when the Biden administration did absolutely nothing. And that has to be watched, as we have enemies of America sneaking into our country from China, from all over. They predict over 10,000 at least radical Islamists in this nation. Probably way higher than that. Dearborn, Michigan looks like some Middle Eastern country, just living off of the greatness of America, Christian nation, but turning it into an Islamic nation. But there are good things, obviously, that Trump's administration has done over the bad things, but or over the Biden administration at least, and those things should be praised. But when you're going to promise something like giving us the Epstein List or giving us the truth about chemtrails, and then we get nonsense, that has to be held, they need to be held accountable to that as well. So more information on some of these floodings, what's going on, strange things around the world. So let's watch this video. Eerie flood sirens blaring in Tokyo after historic rainfall slams the city. So yeah, and as I'm seeing in the chat, the cloud seeding, the weather modification, I think that that's not playing an effect on the agriculture as well. Absolutely. Yeah, that watching the floods and fires, as Chosen says, for years now, and I've kind of kept an eye on the earth change stuff for years, and they've gone on, and those things are going to happen. And knowing the world news 24/7, of course, we're going to hear about bad things all the time, but to see what's happening now all the time, it does seem to me like it's increasing. What's up, Anita? God bless you. Yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful we're not under Kamala, and I think if Hillary Clinton would have got in in 2016, it would have been way worse. I don't think it's the same two of the same wings on the same bird, and that everything happens the same exact way. You can see different things change. We saw abortion in the Senate. You know, abortion changed. Roe versus Wade canceled. I mean, these are things that would not happen under these radical Democrat ideologies. To say that there's not a difference at all and it's the same exact thing is not truthful, but to not think that there's forces, especially at the highest levels, controlling people, that's not true either. Like, I believe Kash Patel wanted to tell the truth about the Epstein stuff, and he believed everything he was said, and then he just completely got scared and forced and threatened into compliance, which is why even today I saw that he had deleted tweets that he posted about people who were on the list, people he thought were on the list, and more stuff about the list. For sure, he's threatened massively. All these guys are. That's what they do. Of course, we know that. That's why it's like in every single movie and all this stuff. These things go on for sure. Watch some more videos here. Pretty crazy. This is New York City, torrential rains. And again, it is weird that we're just seeing it all around the nation now. Like, you know, normally in the past, you'd hear it in one time and then like, that's it for the year, or 1,000-year storm. You hear all the time now, 1,000-year storms, 1,000-year historic storms all the time. There are theories going around about tsunamis and stuff, earthquakes hitting Japan. We'll see. We'll see exactly. Many have they not deported. It's two sides of the same beast. I mean, I think there are forces controlling both sides, no matter who's in. But for sure, some stuff changes. I mean, it's pretty clear to see some stuff changes, in my opinion, but it's definitely not perfect. Far from perfect. So here's more information supposedly on the cloud seeding, weather mod stuff that's going to come out. Florida airports have officially been notified that under a new law signed by the governor, Ron DeSantis, they need to submit monthly reports on geoengineering and weather modification activities or lose state funding. We were told it doesn't exist, though. I mean, yeah, even the fact that these things are now being brought up in conversation shows that, once again, for years, people who are considered conspiracy theorists are proven right once again. America saw 4 1-in-1,000-year storms in less than a week. North Carolina, New Mexico, Texas, and Illinois. I mean, is that a coincidence? Is there not something going on with weather modification? Different states, all these different states, a lot of these states aren't even the same storms. These are different storms, and now we're seeing it once again. This isn't even covering what happened in New York City right now and in New Jersey. World Trade Center also hit by lightning during this last storm. This was 10 hours ago. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? And in the past and in the Bible, you know, judgment is brought upon nations through weather and earth changes and stuff like that, or massive storms. things are going on. We have a Muslim, a guy who wants people who are unbelievers killed, about to become the mayor of New York City, probably. Is that why some of this is happening? I don't know. Probably not, but at least worth mentioning that, you know, the nation who follows God is blessed. That's what Psalm says. There's a lot of verses that speak about the nation who follows after God will be blessed. And our nation is turning more from God, it seems. There's, of course, hope, and we should look at the good things as well, but we need to point out the bad things also. This is in New Jersey. Massive flash flooding going on. I mean, this is crazy to see. This is like a regular thing now to see. See that? Oh, let's see here. The Holy Spirit's been revealing that we can't just trust the politicians, especially when they say that they're Christians or saying like, God bless America. It might be a good thing. Yeah, that's true. Definitely. We have to pray for discernment, discern the spirits. And there will be deceivers. Kind of like Jesus says in the one verse, you know, people will be saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. And that verse, a lot of people for years made it sound like when they were talking about that verse that people would be saying, there's the Christ, there's a false Christ. But a lot of people will be saying that Jesus is the Christ and will be deceiving many. This was going on a lot in the New Testament. A lot of the New Testament was in direction and being directed towards Christians who were following Jesus, but not doing it correctly. And a lot of those letters that Paul sent were in relation to that. And Jesus gave us the best example, really, to know them by their fruits. That's the best way, in my opinion. We can look at these politicians, look at these people. What are they actually saying? What are they doing with their lives? What's the fruits they're producing? And then you can know from that if they're a bad tree or a good tree, which is why when I look at some of the things this administration is doing, there's good things in accordance with what the Bible says. Freedom, anti-abortion, defending the laws of the nation, not allowing people who want us to be destroyed like Muslims into our nation. Those are good. But, you know, we have to totally examine the tree exactly and make sure that they're producing good fruit and not bad fruit. Because yes, many people are very trusting just by hearing them say this or that, thinking that they're a Christian or whatnot. Yeah, they believe Trump's the underdog and believe in that he's a Christian. And yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, after watching Trump and his life and how he's changed, especially after all that went on last year, it looked to me like things were changing. I think he actually does want the best for America. I do believe that, but I'm sure that there's people in high positions of power that we don't even know their names, and these people do serious threats. I mean, Trump was even killed and shot in, and I don't think every single massive event that takes place in the world is faked. So these things are going on, and I think that's something also to consider as well. Like when we look at, in my opinion, Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, I think these guys care about America. They want the best thing for it. They're probably brought in a room and threatened to the highest degree someone could imagine. And then they just said, well, what are they going to do? Give up their whole families to just say that Epstein actually was killed? Or are they just going to go along with the narrative on this one thing so to save them and their families? I mean, honestly, that's what I believe is going on here. So we got to consider it all, the whole picture, really. But then we also got to be careful that we're not saying everything's 4D chess. Trump is doing everything 4D chess, because at the same time, you know, we need the truth. And not everything is 4D chess. Some things are just bad choices and bad decisions, and we're not hearing the truth. So all of this has to be considered, in my opinion. Is Trump on the Epstein list? I bet you Trump is on the Epstein list, at least going to the island. But what he did there, no one knows for sure. What did Trump do? I mean, some people were probably going there, and not everything is involving children, but for sure that was going on. And they probably knew it was. I don't know for sure, but I would say he's probably on the list, which is why we're hearing so much about him trying to cover up the list, or saying, why are we still talking about the list? Because these people vote. They vote and control what goes on in America. And if they're flying to islands and doing that with children, yeah, these people, we need to know the list. We need to know. And we better not just get the same thing with this whole chemtrail thing that we got with that, where we're hearing for so long, it's this, we'll hear it, it's on the desk, we're getting the information, and then one day it comes out, actually, no, there's no information at all, even though we have tens of thousands of videos and thousands of victims. So, yeah, that's my opinion. Before I get off on another rant on Jeffrey Epstein, that's about all I got with this. We know weather modification exists. We're seeing it. Used to be a conspiracy. Now it's true. Rainmaker, creating storms, creating rain in Texas and SOAR. Again, we saw the flight pass in the earlier image here. These things exist. Is it changing the weather in America? Why is America seeing so many insane storms in such a short period all around the world as well? We know this stuff's gone on. They've had admitted to it for quite a long time. Now it's becoming mainstream. Just continue to pray for discernment, pray for truth to prevail in the nation. May our nation turn to the Lord Jesus Christ, because whatever nation follows the Lord, that nation will be blessed. I think we should forever continue to have that as our heart's desire until all the end of days. And yeah, Jesus is the way. Pray for discerning spirits, and we'll know them by the fruits. The Bible gives us all the answers. Keep our mind on that and our focus on that above everything else. Thank you guys for stopping in. God bless you all. I pray you're well, and